All right, welcome back to part 10 of the sci-fi case project. So in this tutorial, we're going to finish up this frame. I kind of basically made a copy here and then extrude out just so you can kind of see the kind of action that we're looking for this frame piece. Over here is the original, and I did add a few more lines in between, and I'm still in live mode, so I have this live object selected and I have the quad draw tool selected. The reason why is I want to show you without supporting loops what will happen here if I set number 3. You can see, especially right in here, how rubbery it looks, almost web-like. So there's a couple of areas here that are definitely issues, and so they need supporting loops. You can see one here, but down here you can see these are all holding the edges. This is without an extrusion of any kind all on this side. So what I've done is essentially in between time I've kind of added edge loops, but let me just show you by holding down the control key. Again, I have the quad draw tool selected, but if I just hold down the quad draw tool, I can add an edge loop in between here. Let me hit number 1 and then just click right there. You can kind of see how it affected that area, and then hit number 3. Now it's holding that position. So I'm going to go back to number 1, and I believe, yeah, the top here, like if I hit number 3, this top might frame out, especially once we have some divisions. So I'm going to add an edge loop there, and then you can see here on the side there's no edge loop to support this. If I hit number 3, you can see how it starts to bend. And I might miss some of these, but I'm just kind of do it in between right now. It just will speed things up if I kind of try and do it with this tool before I use the insert edge loop tool. So again, you want supporting loops on each side. The closer they are, the tighter that position will be. So now this, if I hit number 3, will hold this corner instead of it being very relaxed, like down here, for example. When I hit number 3, you can see how rubbery it looks. So again, right here, hold control and click right there. On this one, on each side, click here, and let's see, click there, and then click, hang on, sometimes this doesn't want to work. There we go, like that. So now again, when I hit number 3, again, holding edges. But again, here's another one I missed. And again, if I don't get them all, what I can do is afterwards I can add edge loops in post, but I'm going to try and do a few more of these real quick. So those are good. Let's see down here. Those were good. We don't have a corner here. Might have to do some corner edges for the whole thing. Like this whole corner might get kind of wobbly, but I think I'll do that with the insert edge loop tool. I kind of want to just hit all these points here. I think I've got them all here. Again, I did a lot of the work in between tutorials because it's just very repetitive. You can see here now everything's kind of holding, it looks like, except for this part right here. So let me, I missed one right here. Again, I'm just going to hold control, click there, and now if I hit number 3, yeah, that looks good. Okay, so I hit number 1. So the first step is to click on the arrow to escape out, right click, go into object mode, turn off the live object. And now what I could do is I could extrude this right away, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit W, and I'm going to kind of pull this out in the X and Z direction, just kind of pull it off a little bit. And I know I might have to adjust later on, but the reason why I'm doing this is because I'm going to extrude inwards instead of outwards, and there's a particular reason why. So I'm going to go to face mode, and I'll double click, which will select all the faces, and then I'm going to hit Control E to extrude, and then I can adjust the thickness or just drag the local axis here. Now what's happening here is it's black, so it's inverted, which is fine. But you can see here I'm pulling in the geometry into the mesh. And let me hit number 4 so you can see this. You can see all these interior faces are still selected. So what I can do is I can hit the delete key and basically get rid of all those. which is kind of what I want to do. Unless I was building a watertight kind of surface, maybe for 3D printing, I might want those, or if I was going to do a boolean. Booleans you want watertight, but I can essentially save some geometry just by pressing the delete key. And now I can select the object and then inverse my normals by going to mesh display, reverse, and that will invert my normals there. And you can see they kind of hold the edge pretty well. Now if I hit number 3, you can see how some areas are still kind of rubbery and kind of pipe-like. And so if I don't like that, what I have to do is add some edge loops on the top of the surface or on the side. So again, I'll double click on my insert edge loop tool, make sure relative distance is selected. And so for example, I could select here and here. Looks like I have soft select accidentally on. I can turn that off by hitting the B key. But on the outside here, you can see if I hit number 3, make sure that's nice and hard. But those inside ones here, for example, I just need to add edge loop and another edge loop right there. So I'd have to go around and just kind of do that with each of these interior pieces. A couple edge loops there. And then looks like one here and one here. Again, the closer they are, the tighter the degree will be. I don't need to go crazy tight. And it looks like I have some mesh issues. Sometimes you'll have that with extrusions where you have to do some cleanup. But sometimes when you hit number 3, it kind of cleans up itself. It's kind of interesting how that happens, but sometimes the mesh is actually okay. So yeah, so let's hit number 3, take a look, and I think that looks okay. Let's see, click object mode. Yeah, you can kind of see the mesh okay now. So I can take this much further if I want to make this more square. What I would do is add another edge loop on each side right here, for example, and one here. You guys know how to do this at this point. Just very repetitive, but go back to object mode, hit number 3. I don't know if I'll do that for every single piece, but if I ever want to add that to some, maybe because I don't mind some of the roundness of some of these, but I don't know. This might be better as a square piece. Let's just add edge loop here. One there and one there. And as this goes up, if I want this corner to be, I'll hit number 3 here. I mean, I don't mind that corner, but if I did want that to be a little sharper, I would maybe want to add edge loop across this way. You know, so just to show you what it looked like, it'd be like that. And maybe one there. So, you know, it's up to you on how much of that you want. If you want everything to be nice and crisp and hard and square, you'd want to add more edge loops throughout. Looks like I definitely missed interior ones here though. So let me add one here and one there for sure. And let me click out. Anyways, in between tutorials, I'll kind of decide how many more of these to add before I continue more. I'm going to think about it a little bit. One thing I wanted to point out was with this mesh, the middle one here, you can see how rounded it is on both sides. And I thought a lot about it. I think I want this end to be square. So I'm going to hit number 1. And what I want to do is essentially add another edge loop right in here to make this fully square down here. And so when you hit number 3, you can see how much square that is there. I could even add a few more going side to side there, but I like that where it goes from square to round. So I think I would do the same thing down here, is add another edge loop right here and bring that in and kind of give it a little bit of tightness there. And let's see, any other ones? I might do it like if I really want this edge to be nice and crisp, I could add an interior one there and an interior one there. Let's just see how that would look. Sometimes things will look okay and other times they won't. And so with those two, what will happen is if I hit number 3, it does do a pretty good job holding those edges more. But what happens, it does, well, Actually doesn't soften the roundness too much. As long as there's not pinching, I'm okay with that. So I might do that with some more, yeah, in between also. But that's basically it. So I'll add a few more supporting loops in there, and then we'll take a look at those next tutorial. I'll kind of show off those real quick at the end, at the next tutorial, and then we'll kind of start working on this piece next. You can see if I hit number 3, how soft and rubbery it is. And then eventually we'll get to the inner pieces in here, and we'll start mirroring geometry across. I might actually do that with this piece right now. Just looking at it, I don't think I want to do anything else with this. Well, I'll save that for another tutorial, because I'm going to think about it a little bit, because I might want to do some more work on that. Who knows? And this is the end of part 10. Until next time, see you soon. Cheers.